Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources. Updating daily noontime New York City.
The Library of Economics and Liberty.
July 17, 10:07 America, New York. Why a wealth tax was abandoned in Britain. Wealth taxes have become an increasingly popular policy in recent years, though there is some confusion among their advocates. On the one hand are those, like the economist Thomas Piketty, who propose wealth taxes with the goal of eliminating concentrations of wealth.
Wall Street Journal markets.
July 17, 10:03 America, New York. Dollar extends gains with no end to rally in sight. Few on Wall Street see a change in the U.S. currency's trajectory, reflecting fears of a global recession and deepening woes in Europe.
Wall Street Journal markets.
July 17, 10 o'clock America, New York. A recession for thee but not for me. Many companies are worried about the economy, but optimistic about their own businesses.
Global economy.
July 17, 9 o'clock America, New York. Will the ECB unveil its new anti-fragmentation tool? Market questions is the FT's guide to the week ahead.
Daily FX market news.
July 17, 8 o'clock America, New York. Stock market weekly forecast. S&P 500 and DAX 40. Russian gas flows, ECB anti-fragmentation tool and Italian politics take focus.
Marginal revolution. July 17, 7:25 America, New York. A radical proposal for funding science. The process of competing for science funding is so onerous that much of the value is dissipated in seeking funding. Risk aversion by committee means that breakthrough science is often funded surreptitiously, on the margin of funded science.
New York Times Business.
July 17, 7 o'clock America, New York. The week in business. Twitter hits back. Inflation in June was high. The euro tumbled to parity with the US dollar. And central banks around the world are raising interest rates.
Wall Street Journal markets.
July 17, 7 o'clock America, New York. Many investors are fleeing the stock market. Some are doubling down. For some amateur investors, a plunging market is a chance to buy shares on the cheap. Many of these risk-tolerant investors have something in common. They don't need the money soon. Global economy.
July 17, 6 o'clock America, New York. U.S. defense industry boss calls for clarity on what arms Ukraine needs. Northrop Grumman chief says weapons makers need a clear demand signal as conflict rolls on.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
July 17, 5:30 America, New York. Inflation has outpaced wage growth. Now it's cutting into spending. Sales are sluggish compared with how much prices have risen, except when it comes to dining out.
New York Times Business.
July 17, 5 o'clock America, New York. Netflix, still reeling, bets big on The Gray Man. The streaming service hopes its latest release can be the start of a blockbuster franchise that attracts much-needed subscribers. Ryan Gosling stars in The Gray Man, which Netflix will start streaming on Friday.
Marginal revolution.
July 17, 3:21 America, New York. Columbia tax facts of the day. According to the OECD, only 5% of Colombians pay income tax. Revenue from personal income tax is worth just 1.2% of gross domestic product compared to an OECD average of 8.1%.
Daily FX market news.
July 17, 0 America, New York. Canadian dollar weekly forecast. CAD at the behest of crude oil and rampant US dollar. The Canadian dollar has a big week ahead with Canadian inflation, a hawkish Fed and depressed crude oil prices dictating USD, CAD price action.
Global economy.
July 17, 0 America, New York. Central banks embrace big rises to bolster currencies and fight inflation. Analysts point to signs of reverse currency war as policymakers try to stem imported inflation.
The Library of Economics and Liberty.
July 16, 2114 America, New York. Populist rulers cannot lose elections. Populist rulers face a dilemma. Since they embody the people and realize the will of the people, they cannot lose elections. The people cannot vote against itself.
Daily FX market news.
July 16, 2000 America, New York. Japanese yen forecast. Will a dovish BOJ keep USD, JPY rising? CPI in focus too. The Japanese yen is vulnerable to external forces, with the Bank of Japan still expected to be one of the few remaining dovish central banks. Is it all clear for USD JPY to keep rising then?
BBC News Business.
July 16, 1907 America New York, Farnborough Airshow, aerospace deals set to fly. Airbus and Boeing go head-to-head for deals as sustainability takes center stage, while defense firms focus on the Ukraine effect.
Marginal revolution. July 16, 1326 America New York, counties with more turkeys than people. You can find that here. At the same link are some fascinating sequels, such as counties with more goats than people. And what is the most common type of livestock in each county? Recommended, via Mike Doherty.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
July 16, 8:52 America New York. Elon Musk's inner circle rocked by fight over his $230 billion fortune. Before the Tesla CEO's billion-dollar battle over Twitter, another fight broke out over how his charitable giving should be managed. Ex-professional gambler Igor Kurganov became a top Musk advisor on giving his fortune away.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
July 16, 8:10 America New York. Mansion balks at global minimum tax backed by Biden. The administration had planned to use fiscal legislation to advance a deal struck last year by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and more than 130 other countries.
New York Times Business.
July 16, 5:10 America New York, passengers sigh as Heathrow caps numbers to head off, Armageddon. After 2 years of pandemic-enforced staycations, demand for travel has come roaring back in Europe, and airports are finding it impossible to keep up. Travelers on Wednesday at London's Heathrow Airport.
Armstrong Economics.
July 16, 009 America New York, WWII is not worth supporting Ukraine in a land grab. The West is determined to invade Russia and they believe that they can destroy it despite the fact that they are no longer a communist nation or a threat. That does not seem to matter, for they want war because Russia and China will not surrender their sovereignty to the United Nations under this Great Reset, all for climate change and AMP, the WEF.
Armstrong Economics.
July 16, 003 America New York, if you eat today. If you're not from America, replace Biden with your elected official who is following plans for the Great Reset. The civilians and service members are the ones who truly keep our nations afloat and deserve praise for their efforts.